All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into Vincent Kyer Kane's The Lee Kirby Ultimatum.
Oh,
And I'm pretty excited about this one.
yeah, this is a fascinating piece.
It's a pretty wild take on the origin story of Marvel Comics.
It really is.
We're talking Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, a little bit of 1957,
A little bit of pressure.
and a whole lot of cosmic mystery.
Yeah, and what Kane does so brilliantly in this story is he kind of weaves this almost mythical tale around the creative struggles of these comic book legends.
Right.
It's like he's saying that their genius was sparked by something truly extraordinary.
Okay, so picture this 1957.
Right.
Stan and Jack are in their office.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to create this new superhero team to rival DC's Justice League.
Right, the pressure is on.
Pressure is on.
They need something fresh, something groundbreaking.
Something fresh.
Yeah.
They got to come up with something fast.
And their first idea is a team of 7 siblings.
Okay.
Now, Kane has Kirby shoot that down pretty quickly in the story.
He was like, nah.
Pointing out that a team needs diverse viewpoints
Right.
to really thrive.
Of course.
And it's a subtle but insightful nod to how crucial different perspectives are, even in the world of superhero comics.
Yeah, and that's so true.
Yeah.
Oh, think about it. Any team, whether it's a sports team or, a group of scientists,
Sure.
needs that variety of thought to really tackle challenges effectively.
Oh, absolutely.
So Kane is subtly reminding us that creativity thrives on diversity.
For sure. And just when you think you have a handle on where the story's going, Kane throws a real curveball.
Okay, here we go.
Enter Nuit, a cosmic being who just so happens to be a doppelganger of Stan Lee himself.
Wait, what? A doppelganger.
It's a doppelganger.
Now, that's a twist I did not see coming at all.
Right.
What do you think Kane is trying to say by making Nuit a mirror image of Stan Lee?
Yeah, it's a fascinating choice, isn't it? It makes you wonder about the nature of inspiration.
Right.
Is Kane implying that Stan Lee's creativity is somehow channeled?
Oh.
That his ideas come from a source beyond his conscious mind? Okay. It's almost as if he's suggesting Stan is a conduit for something much larger.
All right, so my mind is officially blown right now.
Okay.
So this Nuit character, he shows up with a pretty heavy message, right?
Yeah.
Something about an extinction-level threat.
He does. He warns humanity about these beings called Dematori,
Dematori.
who feed off negativity and amplify it.
Oh, wow.
He describes them as like agents of death and decay,
Okay.
a stark contrast to his own role as this harbinger of life.
So they basically thrive on all the bad vibes out there.
That's it, yeah.
And Kane actually shows us how insidious they are
Yeah.
through some really vivid scenes like that soccer game
Oh, yeah?
where a minor argument escalates into full-blown violence.
Yeah, it's a chilling example of how easily negativity can spread and spiral out of control.
Right.
The Dematori don't need brute force.
Right.
They manipulate our emotions.
Yeah.
They exploit our anxieties and fears to turn us against each other.
And it's not just isolated incidents either.
No.
Kane shows us this montage of suicides.
Right.
People from all walks of life succumbing to despair.
Yeah.
It's a really powerful image
It is.
that makes you think about the pressures of modern society and how easily they can overwhelm us.
Exactly what's so disturbing about the Dematori is how subtly they operate.
Right.
They work in the shadows, preying on our insecurities, amplifying the negativity that already exists within us.
Yeah.
It's a chilling reflection of the very real darkness that can take root in our own hearts and minds.
So faced with this terrifying threat, what's Nuit's solution?
Well,
He tells Stan and Jack that they have to inspire hope through their stories. I got to be honest, I had the same reaction as Jack Kirby in this story.
oh, yeah.
How can hope possibly combat these negativity-fueled monsters?
Right. It seems almost too simplistic.
Yeah.
But Nuit argues that hope is this potent force in higher dimensions,
Other dimensions.
a force capable of shaping reality itself.
Okay.
He suggests that stories, particularly those that celebrate the triumph of good over evil, can act as conduits for this higher energy.
Hold on. So is he saying stories have power beyond our understanding?
Wow.
A power that operates on a cosmic level?
It's a mind-bending concept, right?
Yeah.
And Kane takes it a step further by having Nuit specifically instruct Stan and Jack to infuse their stories with hope,
Okay.
to create characters who embody this powerful force.
So in a way, he's tasking them with a mission of cosmic importance
Yes.
to combat negativity and inspire humanity through their stories.
Precisely. And this idea that stories can act as weapons against darkness isn't entirely new.
Right.
I mean, throughout history, stories have been used to inspire courage,
Sure.
instill values, and offer hope in times of despair.
Of course. Like, think about the myths and legends that have been passed down through generations.
Exactly.
The tales of heroism and sacrifice that have shaped cultures and beliefs.
Yeah. So in a sense, Kane is drawing on that ancient power of storytelling, but he's given it this distinctly modern and cosmic twist.
Yeah, and the conflict that he sets up is epic in scope.
Oh, it is.
He shows us the Demetori manipulating society,
Mm-hmm.
pushing humanity towards chaos and war.
Mm-hmm.
But then something incredible happens. Humans start developing superpowers, fueled by hope.
Yeah, the stakes are incredibly high.
Superpowers fueled by hope. That's insane.
It's not just about survival.
Wow.
It's about our evolution, our potential to achieve a higher level of consciousness.
So it's like this cosmic tug of war with negativity and hope battling for the fate of humanity.
Exactly. Kane paints this picture of a universe where hope and despair are locked in a battle for the very soul of humanity.
Right.
And in this battle, stories become our most potent weapon.
And speaking of potent, there's that scene where Stan and Jack literally receive knowledge from Newt.
Oh, yeah.
Kane describes their bodies lighting up, their eyes glowing.
Mm.
It's as if they're being infused with something otherworldly.
It's a visually stunning moment that speaks to a deeper truth.
Yeah.
Kane is suggesting that the creative process, especially when it comes to impactful stories, can feel like tapping into a source beyond our conscious understanding.
It's like they're receiving a download of cosmic inspiration,
Yes.
a blueprint for a universe of hope and heroism.
And then, boom, Stan suddenly has the idea for the Fantastic Four.
There it is.
It's like that encounter with Newt unlocked something within him,
Wow.
ignited the spark that would lead to the birth of the Marvel Universe.
It's a pivotal moment in the story and in the history of comics.
Absolutely.
And I think Kane is making a deliberate connection between this cosmic intervention and the birth of Marvel as we know it.
Yeah.
He's implying that the creation of these iconic characters was more than just a stroke of genius.
Mm-hmm.
It was a divinely inspired act, a response to a cosmic call to action.
I think that's a really interesting way to look at it.
So Kane's suggesting that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were chosen in a way to bring these stories of hope and heroism into the world.
That's one way to interpret it.
And if we consider the impact their creations have had, it's a pretty compelling idea.
It really is.
It really makes you think.
It does.
Okay, so we've got a cosmic being, a dire warning, and a call to action.
Right.
What happens next?
Well,
We'll have to dive into that in part 2 of our deep dive.
who will?
But before we do, I want to hear what's standing out to you so far.
Sure.
What's grabbing your attention?
Well, let's see. I think
Yeah.
this idea of hope as a force
Yeah.
is really intriguing to me.
Right.
And
It's a powerful concept.
it is, and I'm curious to see how Kane develops that further in the story.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
It's definitely got me hooked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready for part 2.
Me too.
All right, we'll be right back after a quick break.
So when we left off, Stan Lee had just conceived of the Fantastic Four,
Yeah.
seemingly inspired by his encounter with the enigmatic Newt.
It was like that handshake with Newt just ignited this creative supernova in Stan's mind.
Totally.
But it's more than just the Fantastic Four, right? This story is about the birth of the entire Marvel Universe.
Exactly. Kane used the Fantastic Four as a springboard to explore the wider impact of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's work. He highlights how their creations, from Spider-Man to the X-Men, resonated with readers on this deeply personal level.
And it's not hard to see why.
Right.
I mean, these weren't your typical flawless superheroes.
Well,
They were flawed.
yeah.
They struggled with real-life problems. They made mistakes.
Yeah.
They felt human.
That's what made them so revolutionary.
Right.
Stan and Jack tapped into something universal,
Mhm.
something that transcended the comic book page.
Yeah.
Their characters grappled with issues like prejudice, lost the burden of responsibility,
Right.
themes that resonated with readers from all walks of life.
It's like they held up a mirror to society,
Yeah.
reflecting back both its triumphs and its failings. And in doing so, they created characters that felt more real, more relatable
More human.
than anything that had come before.
Precisely think about Peter Parker, a teenager struggling to balance his personal life with the immense responsibility of being Spider-Man or the X-Men.
Yeah.
A group of outcasts fighting for acceptance in a world that fears and rejects them.
Yeah.
These characters weren't just fighting supervillains, they were fighting for their place in the world.
Right.
A struggle that many readers could identify with.
And it wasn't just the characters either.
No.
Stan and Jack's stories often tackled complex social issues like racism, discrimination, political corruption.
Yeah, they weren't afraid to push boundaries and challenge the status quo.
They were using their platform to advocate for social justice and equality,
Absolutely.
albeit through the lens of fantastical storytelling.
Yeah, it's incredible to think about the impact they had.
I know.
They took a medium that was often dismissed as childish and used it to tell stories that were both entertaining and thought-provoking.
And they did it with a sense of humor and optimism that was infectious.
Yeah.
You know, their stories, despite often dealing with dark and serious themes,
Right.
always offered a glimmer of hope, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, good could triumph.
That's what makes their work so enduring.
Right.
So powerful. It's not just about superheroes and supervillains. It's about the human spirit. Its resilience, its capacity for good, even in the face of adversity.
And that's what Kane is celebrating in the Lee Kirby Ultimatum.
Yeah.
He's paying homage to the legacy of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, acknowledging the profound impact their creations have had on the world.
He's elevating their work to the level of myth almost.
Yeah.
Suggesting that their stories tapped into something ancient and powerful.
Something that resonates deep within the human psyche.
And he leaves us with a question, a challenge, really.
What's that?
Could there be unseen forces at play shaping our creativity, inspiring us to tell stories that uplift, that empower, that remind us of our shared humanity?
It's a tantalizing thought.
It is.
That perhaps we're all conduits for something greater. That our creative impulses are guided by a force beyond our understanding.
It certainly makes you look at the creative process in a new light.
Yeah.
Perhaps Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were simply tapping into a wellspring of inspiration that's available to all of us. Right.
A source of creativity that's waiting to be unlocked.
It's a truly inspiring thought.
It is.
Okay, we're running out of time for this part of our deep dive, but we've got one more segment to go.
Oh.
What's on deck for our final exploration of the Lee Kirby Ultimatum?
Well, we've talked about the characters, the themes, the impact, but we haven't really delved into Kane's unique writing style.
Oh, right.
The way he blends reality and fantasy, history and mythology, I think is worth taking a closer look at how he constructs this narrative and what it tells us about his own views on creativity and inspiration.
Okay, so for our final part, we're going to get a little meta.
A little meta.
We're going to analyze the storyteller himself.
Exactly.
All right, I'm ready when you are. Okay, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into Vincent Kyer Kane's The Lee Kirby Ultimatum.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. We've gone from the birth of Marvel Comics to this exploration of hope as a cosmic force.
And let's not forget those Dementoroids.
Yeah, those creepy negativity monsters. They were a pretty effective way to illustrate the stakes, weren't they?
Absolutely.
Oh?
It's like Kane is saying that every time we choose hope over cynicism, every time we create something positive, we're pushing back against those forces of darkness.
It's a powerful message, isn't it? That we all have a role to play in this cosmic battle between good and evil.
It really makes you think about the impact our choices have, not just on our own lives, but on the world around us.
And on a grander scale, perhaps even the universe.
Exactly. And it makes me think about Stan Lee and Jack Kirby in a whole new light.
How so?
Well, they weren't just creating comic books. They were building a mythology of hope.
They were giving us heroes to believe in, stories to inspire us.
And those stories have resonated with people across generations and cultures.
It's amazing, isn't it, how their creations have become this global phenomenon.
It's like they tapped into something universal, something that speaks to the human spirit.
And Kane, I think, is trying to capture that in the Lee Kirby Ultimatum. He's not just telling a story about the origin of Marvel Comics.
Right.
He's exploring the power of creativity, the way it can connect us, inspire us, and ultimately transform us.
And he leaves us with that lingering question.
Yeah, the one about unseen forces shaping creativity and hope.
It's a question that stays with you long after you finish the story.
It makes you wonder if there's something more to inspiration than we realize.
Maybe there's a wellspring of creativity out there that we can all tap into.
A cosmic force that guides us towards hope and imagination.
It's a beautiful thought, isn't it?
It is, and I think it's a fitting way to end our deep dive into the Lee Kirby Ultimatum.
So as we wrap things up, I want to thank you for joining us on this exploration of Vincent Kyer Kane's work.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the stories that matter.
And never stop believing in the power of hope.
Until next time, keep searching for those sparks of inspiration.
They're out there waiting to be discovered.